things to think about every single time. One of the biggest things the trailer is hinting at is the power shift that is coming to Queens. Because for the longest time, this world has been dominated by certain names, certain faces, certain people who believed they were untouchable. And now, looking at the trailer, it is very clear that the old order is about to collapse completely. The people who thought they had control are about to find out very quickly that the ground underneath them has been shifting this entire time. And the person at the center of all of this? Well, we are going to get into that very shortly, because trust me, when I tell you about what Breeze appears to be planning in this trailer, your jaw is going to drop. And then there is the atmosphere of the trailer itself. Queens feels different. The streets feel tighter, more dangerous, more electric. There is a tension running through every single scene that makes you feel like anything could happen at any moment. And in a final season, that feeling is everything. Because when you know that no character is truly safe, every scene hits differently. Every conversation feels loaded. Every look between characters feels like it could mean something much bigger than what is on the surface. And this trailer captures that feeling perfectly. Now, before we get into the specific moments and what they could mean for the season, I want to address the one question that has been on absolutely everybody's mind since that season 4 finale. The question that kept fans up at night. The question that broke social media when the credits rolled. Because everything in this trailer needs to be understood through the lens of that one devastating moment we all witnessed. And once you understand that connection, the trailer starts to make a completely different kind of sense. So the real question is, did Kanan actually pull that trigger? And if he did, who exactly is left to stand beside him in this final season? They dropped the trailer. And honestly, nothing will ever be the same in Queens again. The moment Power Book 3, Raising Kanan fans have been waiting for, is finally here. And let me tell you, this trailer is not playing around. From the very first second, you can feel that this season is going to be different, darker, heavier, more personal. And if you thought Season 4 ended on a brutal note, then Season 5 is about to make that look like a warm-up. Because everything that has been building since the very first episode, every betrayal, every alliance, every bullet, every lie, is finally crashing into one final explosive season. And the trailer makes sure you feel every single bit of that weight. Now, the first thing that jumps out immediately is the energy. This is not the same Kanan we met back in Season 1. That curious, wide-eyed kid who was just trying to figure out where he fit in this world? Gone. Completely gone. What we are seeing now is a young man who has been through loss, betrayal, and enough trauma to break most people 10 times over. And yet here he is, still standing, still calculating, still moving. The trailer shows us a Kanan who is no longer reacting to the world around him. He is making the world react to him. And that shift alone tells us that this final season is going to be something truly special. But let's talk about what the trailer is actually showing us, because there is a lot happening and most people are going to miss the details if they are not paying close attention. The visuals are intense, the cuts are fast, and every single frame feels like it was placed there deliberately to make you feel something without actually telling you anything. That is exactly how a great trailer works. It gives you just enough to drive you absolutely crazy with theories, but not enough to actually confirm anything. And honestly, the Raising Kanan team did a masterful job with this one because I have watched it multiple times and I am still finding new. Let's start with Rock, because whether she is alive or dead, her presence is hanging over every single frame of this trailer like a storm cloud that refuses to move. And that is actually what makes this so fascinating. You see, the most powerful thing a final season can do is make you question everything you thought you understood about the characters you have been watching for years. And Rock's situation is doing exactly that right now. Because, on one hand, we have Kanan, a son who has been pushed to his absolute limit, who has been lied to, manipulated, and emotionally destroyed by the one person in his life who was supposed to protect him above everyone else. And on the other hand, we have Rock, a mother who made impossible choices in an impossible world and truly believed, in her own twisted way, that everything she did was for her son. And now those two realities have collided in the most violent and heartbreaking way possible. And the trailer is not giving us any easy answers about what happened after that gunshot. Not even a little bit. What the trailer is doing instead is something much more interesting. It is showing us the aftermath of a world that has already moved past that moment. And that tells us something very important, because if Rock were alive and well and still a major player in Queens, the trailer would be built differently. The energy would be different. Instead, what we are getting is a Queens that feels like it has already begun reorganizing itself, like pieces on a board that have already shifted after a major piece was removed. And if you know anything about how the Power universe operates, you know that when the story stops centering a character without explanation, that character is usually not long for this world. Or they are already gone. And the trailer, as deliberately vague as it is, seems to be leaning very heavily in that direction when it comes to Rock. But here is where it gets really interesting, because Rock's story does not. Let's start with Rock, because whether she is alive or dead, her presence is hanging over every single frame of this trailer like a storm cloud that refuses to move. And that is actually what makes this so fascinating. You see, the most powerful thing a final season can do is make you question everything you thought you understood about the characters you have been watching for years. And Rock's situation is doing exactly that right now. Because, on one hand, we have Kanan, a son who has been pushed to his absolute limit, who has been lied to, manipulated, and emotionally destroyed by the one person in his life who was supposed to protect him above everyone else. And on the other hand, we have Rock, a mother who made impossible choices in an impossible world and truly believed, in her own twisted way, that everything she did was for her son. And now those two realities have collided in the most violent and heartbreaking way possible. And the trailer is not giving us any easy answers about what happened after that gunshot. Not even a little bit. What the trailer is doing instead is something much more interesting. It is showing us the aftermath of a world that has already moved past that moment. And that tells us something very important, because if Rock were alive and well and still a major player in Queens, the trailer would be built differently. The energy would be different. Instead, what we are getting is a Queens that feels like it has already begun reorganizing itself, like pieces on a board that have already shifted after a major piece was removed. And if you know anything about how the Power universe operates, you know that when the story stops centering a character without explanation, that character is usually not long for this world. Or they are already gone. And the trailer, as deliberately vague as it is, seems to be leaning very heavily in that direction when it comes to Rock. But here is where it gets really interesting, because Rock's story does not end with just her fate. Her story ends with what her absence, or her death, does to every single person around her. And the person who stands to gain the absolute most from Rock being removed from the equation is someone who has been quietly, patiently, and brilliantly positioning himself this entire time. And that person is Breeze. Now, if you thought Breeze was just a cool side character who added flavor to the story, this trailer is about to completely rearrange your understanding of who this man actually is. Because Breeze is not a side character. Breeze has never been a side character. Breeze has been the most dangerous person in this entire story from the very beginning, and we were all just too distracted by everything else happening around him to fully realize it until right now. The trailer gives us more Breeze than we have ever seen before in any promotional material for this show. And every single moment he appears on screen, there is this calm, almost unsettling confidence radiating off of him that is genuinely thrilling to watch. This is a man who does not panic. This is a man who does not react emotionally. This is a man who has already thought 10 steps ahead of everyone else in the room before they have even finished speaking their first sentence. And what the trailer seems to be showing us is that Breeze has not just been surviving in this world, he has been architecting it, quietly, methodically, without ever letting anyone see the full picture of what he was actually building. And now, in this final season, the architecture is complete. And everyone else is about to find out that they have been living inside Breeze's design this entire time, without ever knowing it. Now let's talk about the chess imagery, because it is not subtle and it is not accidental. Showing Breeze playing chess in the trailer is one of the most deliberate creative choices the show could have made. Because chess is not just a game. In the context of this story, chess is a language. It is telling you exactly what kind of player Breeze is, and exactly what kind of game he has been playing. Every person around him, Canon, Rock, Unique, Snaps, Pop, they have all been playing checkers, while Breeze has been playing an entirely different game on an entirely different board. And the terrifying thing about a chess player of Breeze's caliber is that by the time the other pieces on the board realize what is happening, the game is already over. The checkmate was decided 3 moves ago. They just have not seen it yet. And this brings us to Kanan, because the relationship between Kanan and Breeze is the true beating heart of this final season. These 2 young men, coming from completely different places, emotionally and psychologically, have found in each other something that neither of them can find anywhere else. For Kanan, Breeze represents clarity, direction, purpose. In a life that has been nothing but chaos and confusion and betrayal, Breeze is the one person who makes the path forward feel real and achievable. And for Breeze, Kanan represents something equally valuable: raw, loyal, fearless energy that can be pointed at any target and trusted to hit it. Together, they are not just a partnership. They are a force. And the trailer is making it very clear that Queens has absolutely no idea what is about to hit it. But here is the part that nobody is talking about enough. Because while everyone is focused on Breeze and Kanan rising together, the trailer is quietly planting seeds about something that should make every single fan of this show genuinely nervous. Because Breeze is a chess player, and chess players do not have partners. Chess players have pieces, and the most important question this trailer is forcing us to ask, the one that is going to define everything that happens in this final season, is whether Kanan is Breeze's equal in this game, or whether Kanan has been Breeze's most valuable piece all along without ever realizing it. And if it is the second option, if Kanan is the piece and not the player, then who exactly is Breeze willing to sacrifice to win? Let's be completely honest about something. Final seasons kill people. That is not a theory. That is not speculation. That is just the contract that every final season makes with its audience from the very first episode. And the Power universe, more than almost any other franchise on television right now, has never been afraid to look you directly in the eye and take away the character you love the most at the exact moment you least expect it. So when we sit down and watch this trailer carefully, we should not be asking if major characters are going to die this season. We should be asking who, how, and in what order. Because the trailer, as carefully constructed as it is already giving us answers if you know exactly what to look for. And what it is showing us is a season that is going to leave almost nobody standing by the time that finale credits roll. Let's start with Unique. Now, Unique has been one of the most compelling and complicated characters in this entire series. A man who operates by his own code, who built something real in Queens, and who has spent most of this story existing in this fascinating gray area between enemy and reluctant ally, depending on what the situation demanded. But the trailer is telling us something very specific about where Unique stands as we enter this final season. And what it is telling us is that Unique's position in Queens is no longer what it used to be. The power he once had, the respect he once commanded, the territory he once controlled, all of it is being challenged in a way that it has never been challenged before. And the person doing the challenging is not someone Unique has faced before, which means Unique is going to be fighting a battle he does not fully understand against an enemy whose true intentions he cannot see clearly. And in this world, that combination is almost always fatal. The interesting thing about Unique's potential death is what it would mean for the story emotionally, because Unique and Rock have been connected throughout this entire series in ways that go far beyond just business or territory. There is history there. There is pain there. There is unfinished emotional business between those two characters that the show has been slowly building toward for seasons now. And if Rock is already gone or on her way out, and then Unique follows shortly after, it represents the complete erasure of the old Queens, the world that existed before Kanan and Breeze decided to remake it in their own image. And that erasure is not just plot. That is the entire thematic point of this final season. The old guard has to fall completely for the new order to truly begin. And Unique, as much as we have grown to respect him, is old guard. And old guard does not survive final seasons in the Power universe. Now let's talk about Snaps and Pop, because these two have been operating in the background of this story. carrying an enormous secret that is now on the verge of completely exploding into the open. The fact that Snaps and Pop are the ones who actually killed Fame, and Crystal is a piece of information that has been sitting like a ticking bomb underneath the entire story. And this season, that bomb is going off, because Breeze is going to make sure of it. Think about it from Breeze's perspective for a second. He is a chess player who is trying to clear the board. And what better way to clear the board than to hand Kanan the exact information he needs to justify removing 2 more obstacles permanently. Telling Kanan the truth about who killed Fame and Crystal is not an act of loyalty or friendship from Breeze. It is a move, a calculated, precise, perfectly timed move that accomplishes multiple things at once. It redirects Kanan's rage away from Rock and towards Snaps and Pop. It bonds Kanan to Breeze even more deeply through shared purpose and violence. And it removes 2 more players from the board without Breeze ever having to get his own hands dirty. That is not friendship. That is genius. Cold, ruthless, breathtaking genius. And Kanan's response to learning the truth about Snaps and Pop is going to be one of the most intense moments of the entire season, because this is not going to be a calculated, strategic kill. This is going to be personal. This is going to be emotional. This is going to be Kanan unleashing every single ounce of grief and rage and confusion that has been building inside him since he lost Fame and Crystal. And the trailer is hinting at exactly that kind of unhinged, grief-driven violence that makes the Power Universe so compelling to watch. When Kanan moves on Snaps and Pop, it is not going to look like a business decision. It is going to look like a son destroying the people who took everything from him. And it is going to be absolutely devastating to watch. But the death that nobody is prepared for, the one that the trailer is quietly, almost gently hinting at, in a way that most people are completely overlooking, is Marvin. Because Marvin has always been this complicated, damaged, sometimes infuriating, but ultimately deeply human character who has been trying and failing to be better than what this world made him. And the trailer showing Marvin near a cemetery is not an accident. Nothing in a trailer like this is ever an accident. That image was placed there deliberately to plant a question in your mind. And the question it is planting is whether Marvin is visiting someone else's grave, or whether someone is about to be visiting his. And when you combine that cemetery image with everything we know about where Jukebox is emotionally heading into this final season, the picture that starts to form is genuinely heartbreaking. Because Jukebox and Marvin's story has always been one of the most emotionally complex threads in this entire series. A father and daughter bound together by blood and broken by almost everything else. And this final season appears to be building toward a conclusion for that relationship that is going to absolutely destroy viewers who have been invested in both of these characters from the beginning. The trailer hints at a Jukebox who is done trying, done hoping, done extending grace to people who have repeatedly shown her that they do not deserve it. And a Jukebox who is done is a Jukebox who is capable of anything, including the unthinkable. So as the bodies begin to pile up this season, as the old Queens gets dismantled piece by piece, and the new order begins to take shape, there is one name that keeps coming back. One character whose arc this season feels like it is building towards something so much bigger than just survival or death or power. One character who the trailer seems to be positioning not just as a player in this final season, but as the bridge between everything Raising Kanan has been and everything the Power Universe is about to become. And that character's name should already be sending chills down your spine, because if the trailer is telling the truth, what is coming next will change the entire Power Universe forever. Let us take a breath for a second, because what we are about to talk about is not just about Raising Kanan anymore. What we are about to talk about is the moment where one story ends and an entire universe shifts into its next chapter. And the trailer, subtle as it is trying to be, is already laying the groundwork for something so much bigger than just a season finale. It is laying the groundwork for a handoff, a torch being passed from one generation of the story to the next. And if you have been following the Power Universe closely enough, you already know exactly what that means and exactly whose names are about to enter this story in a way that is going to make every single fan lose their mind completely. Ghost and Tommy are coming. And before you say that, is just speculation. Let me walk you through exactly why the trailer is essentially confirming this without ever saying it out loud. Because the Power universe does not do anything accidentally. Every creative decision, every casting hint, every carefully worded interview from 50 Cent, every single frame of every trailer released for any show in this franchise has always been intentional. There is a machine operating behind all of this, and that machine is building towards something specific. And what it is building toward in the context of this Raising Kanan final season is the moment where the world of young Kanan and the world of young Ghost and Tommy finally, inevitably collide. And when that collision happens, it is not going to be a small moment tucked quietly into the background of an episode. It is going to be an event. A genuine television event that rewards every single person who has been watching this universe grow and expand since the very beginning of Power. Now let us talk about why this makes complete narrative sense, because Raising Kanan has always been, at its core, an origin story. Not just Kanan's origin story, but the origin story of the entire criminal ecosystem that Power was built on. Every relationship, every rivalry, every power structure we saw in the original Power series had its roots in the streets of Queens that Raising Kanan has been showing us. And for that origin story to be truly complete, it cannot end without showing us the moment where the final pieces of that ecosystem clicked into place. And the final piece, the piece that the original Power series always treated as the most dangerous and unpredictable element in the entire equation, was always Ghost. A young man so ruthless, so calculating, so willing to go further than anyone else around him, that even Kanan, who was never afraid of anything or anyone, recognized something genuinely different in him. And 50 Cent has been telling us this for a long time now. He has said at every possible opportunity that Ghost is actually a worse man than Kanan. Think about what that means for a second. We spent years watching Kanan in the original Power series as this terrifying, cold, seemingly irredeemable force of destruction. And now, 50 Cent is telling us that the man Kanan himself recognized as dangerous was actually more frightening than Kanan ever was. That reframing changes everything about how we should be anticipating Ghost's introduction in this final season. Because we are not going to meet a young Ghost who is charming and polished and already wearing the mask of the sophisticated businessman we know from Power. We are going to meet a Ghost who is raw, unfiltered, operating on pure aggression and ambition before life taught him how to package those things in a more presentable way. And watching Kanan and Breeze encounter that version of Ghost for the first time is going to be one of the most electric moments this entire franchise has ever produced. The most likely scenario, and the one that the trailer seems to be building toward, is that Ghost and Tommy's introduction happens at the very end of the season, most likely in a post-credit scene or a final sequence in the season finale itself. And the way it happens matters enormously, because it cannot just be a cameo for the sake of fan service. It has to be organic, it has to feel earned, and the most organic way for Kanan and Breeze to encounter Ghost for the first time is exactly the way this world has always introduced its most important players, through an act of violence that is so decisive and so cold that it demands to be noticed. Kanan and Breeze witnessing Ghost do something brutal, something that makes them stop and look at each other and recognize without saying a single word that this young man is not like anyone else they have ever encountered in Queens. And that recognition is the moment that connects Raising Kanan to Power Origins in the most seamless and satisfying way possible. Because Power Origins is the next chapter, and Power Origins is not a spin-off or a side story. It is a continuation. A direct continuation of everything that Raising Kanan has been building toward. We will watch young Ghost and young Tommy navigate the same treacherous world that Kanan and Breeze are currently dominating. And we will watch how those four personalities, Kanan, Breeze, Ghost, Tommy, interact and clash and ultimately shape each other into the people we eventually met in the original Power series. And the fact that we are most likely going to get our first glimpse of that dynamic right here in the Raising Kanan finale makes this final season feel like so much more than just an ending. It feels like a beginning. The beginning of the next massive chapter of the most ambitious franchise in the history of premium cable television. And then there is Power Legacy waiting on the other side of all of this. Another expansion, another layer, Another set of stories being added to a universe that 50 Cent has made very clear he has absolutely no intention of slowing down or simplifying. The Power universe is not shrinking, it is not wrapping up. It is evolving, and Raising Kanan Season 5 is the pivot point around which that entire evolution turns. Everything before it was setup. Everything after it is payoff. And we are sitting right now at the exact moment where setup becomes payoff, and the story that started in Queens all those years ago finally reveals the full scope of what it was always trying to become. So here is where we land. June 12th is the date. The trailer has been watched, the theories are running wild, the deaths are coming, the alliances are shifting, Breeze is moving his pieces, Kanan is becoming the man we always knew he would be. And somewhere in Queens, two young men named Ghost and Tommy are about to walk into a story that has been waiting for them since the very first episode of Raising Kanan. The only question left, the one that is going to keep you up every single night between now and June 12th, is whether the ending of Raising Kanan is going to break your heart, blow your mind, or do both at exactly the same time. Because if this trailer is any indication, it is absolutely going to be both.